What's going on, everyone? Nick Gambaro, Stefan Martinez here with you. We got a lot on the table today. A little bit of an earlier start at 6 here. First of all, congratulations to the LA Dodgers on winning their 7th World Series, and for the first time in 32 years. So 1980 was the last time against the Oakland A's. So congrats to the Dodgers in the city of LA. They got 2 champions now with them and the Lakers. So we're going to break that down. Justin Turner, why on earth the Tampa Bay Rays took out Blake Snell. You might get a rant from this guy. We're going to get into college sports a little bit. I got my new segment, Nick's Corner. Really soccer and hockey heavy because, 2 sports I love the most of, besides football. We're going to do a mini preview of the Thursday night game tonight, Carolina versus Atlanta, and maybe some other stuff too we'll get into. But, Stefan, what's going on? We're going to start with the World Series here, and I'm going to throw you a question because you're the baseball guy on this program, and I need your response because I gave you mine, and we were in agreement, but you follow this more deeply than I do, so I'm curious. Simply, what were the Rays thinking and with Blake Snell, and why on earth did the Dodgers, after Turner was found to be positive for COVID, did they let him go back maskless on the field to celebrate with his teammates? Your rebuttal.
Well, I think let's attack the Snell thing first, and then we'll get into the Justin Turner thing and was it right, was it wrong, all that stuff. But if you know the Rays have been doing this all year. They've been pulling guys earlier than most. They believe that they don't want a pitcher facing a lineup 3 times through. However, when you seen Blake Snell in the first 6 innings of this game, I said this guy could go 7, 8, no problem, and be okay. And the fact that, Kevin Cash, they still rely on this formula of we don't want him to face him 3rd time through. We don't want anybody to hit him. And granted, he did give up a single to Will Smith before they pulled him. So I guess Kevin Cash would say I saw something in him. He was getting a bit tired, and he didn't have, this steam on the fastball. But let me just refresh you guys' memory a quick second, if I may. The inning before this, he struck out the side on like 12 pitches. And I'm saying, okay, this is the same guy that just looked dominant an inning ago. How is it that we go from him struggling to find his strike zone, struggling to find his rhythm, struggling to find his mechanics, to now the guy looks unhittable? In the early rounds of the playoffs, he looked vulnerable. He looked like he didn't have his sharp stuff. As we got deeper into the playoffs, this guy got better. And it just – they're ruining the game of baseball. You keep doing this. You keep following this formula. The Dodger dugout was like Christmas morning when he got pulled. They're like, we got him now.
The smiles on their faces, man. Yep.
Yeah, because they knew. And, it goes back to, I know the gut instinct in sports is slowly fading away. I completely understand that. However, I think this needs to be pointed out. When a guy is looking that good and that dominant, and by the way, what are you resting him for? If you lose, you're not playing tomorrow. You want to give yourself the best shot to give your team a chance either to keep the lead you got or keep scoring, and this guy was allowing you to keep the lead. Big dog, 8 strikeouts in 6 innings pitched. 8 strikeouts.
4 against Mookie Betts alone in the World Series.
By the way, and Mookie Betts is probably the 2nd best player in all of baseball. First by some, but second by the majority.
Right, depends who you ask.
Right. Yep. Yeah, but I'm saying to look that dominant against a hitter of his caliber,
right. Yep.
That he had them in a rocking chair all night, 97. Then he comes with the Uncle Charlie at 82, 83. Yeah, hit this change up. Good. And it's just, I don't know, man. I know analytics are the new wave of baseball, but it's ruining the game, and it's hard for casual fans like you to get into the sport because you see things like that, and you're like, who's managing the games here? Is it the manager or is it the front office that are being told, okay, this is what you have to do? It's madness, man. It really is, and unfortunately, it isn't going to get any easier because the deeper and deeper these analytical departments are able to grow and influence the games, the worse this is going to get.
It's crazy. And that's why I can't stand I mean, for other reasons too. But that's one of the things. Like a manager, there's almost no point of having a manager. If they're going to have to listen to the analytical people in the front office or wherever they are watching the game, keeping an eye on the numbers and all that stuff, why have a manager? Why have a baseball guy there if you're just going by numbers? And any sport, yes, you have to keep an eye on stats and all that's important. And especially in playoffs, in World Series, Stanley Cup Final, NBA Finals, whatever. Like, if you have a feeling as a coach or a manager, you got to ride that feeling. If let's say in a Stanley Cup playoff series or the Stanley Cup Final, a goalie is hot, like you got to ride that hot hand, right?
Agreed.
Blake Snell was dealing, and I go back to this being a Met fan, 2015, like. That was a big issue too, like innings limits and when do we take Syndergaard out or Harvey out is so annoying. Like in the World Series or in an NLCS, whatever the case, to me, all bets are off. If a guy is pitching his you-know-what off and not really looking shaky or nervous or he's throwing bad stuff, to me, if I'm a manager, I'm keeping the guy in there. Like, because to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, because you know, as a manager, I'm sure they have that gut feeling where they know when a guy needs to be taken out and when a guy doesn't, and you're like, all right, stay put, like you're good. This guy's pitching amazing.
Right. I think it goes two ways here. Number one, you have to consult with the pitching coach. These pitching coaches know these pitchers better than anybody. If you're not consulting with your pitching coach, then what is he doing there? If the pitching coach can't walk up to the manager and go, "Hey, buddy, I think we should leave him alone right now. I think he'll find a way to get out of it." And here's the other thing, Big Dog. I want him. He'll get out of it and he'll do his thing. But managers today, they don't want to be second guessed. They don't want to be questioned. They don't. Why did you do this? Why did you do that? They play for the post-game press conference. They manage so that they can say, well, the numbers dictated we do this. The numbers say that we do this. And it goes back to what you mentioned with the Mets. A lot of it is Terry Collins was in a tough spot because if he would have pulled Harvey or pulled Syndergaard and the bullpen would give it up, he would go, man, why didn't you just ride him an extra inning? Or why didn't you give him a chance to keep going early in the game? And I understand the whole, well, you don't want to get anybody injured or you don't want to ruin anybody's career. But listen, it's a chance to win a World Series championship. There's not that very many opportunities to be able to do that.
Right. And especially for the Rays, who never won before. The last time was 08 against Philly, which they lost. And you're in division with the Yankees, the Red Sox. Now, the Yankees are always going to be competitive. The Red Sox are on a decline, but who knows? They can always seem to, in a couple of years, get back to the top.
Right.
The Blue Jays are coming up. So you're in a competitive division. So because they are the cream of the crop, and even you've said it, and you're a diehard Yankee fan, but they are the top dog right now in the AL East. Like, you got to take advantage of that while you're in that position.
Right. 1,000% agree with you. And I think this is the other thing that needs to be pointed out about all this, right? Who knows what the future holds? But the Tampa Bay Rays have the #1 farm system still in all of baseball, And
Ahead of
this
the
is what
Yankees.
ahead of everyone. The Dodgers, the Braves,
Right.
they have the number one farm system in all of baseball. They are loaded with we haven't even seen the kid Wander Franco yet. And for all intents and purposes, they're saying this kid's the next uh Vladimir Guerrero, Sammy Sosa combined. So it's like
Well,
if that's what he is, and they have more pitching. We haven't seen Brent Honeywell yet. He's
mhm.
undergone Tommy John surgery. He's still rehabbing his way back. But Tampa's in this very healthy place of we're going to keep knocking at this door. But if you keep allowing your front offices to dictate how you manage games, especially these games, because
Right.
playoff games are different than regular season games. Regular season games, you're playing for the full 162, or in this case, you're playing for the full 60 game season. The difference in this case to me is, bro, there's no tomorrow. What are you saving him for?
It's
And
ridiculous.
what the front office people will tell you is, we don't want to mortgage his future. We don't want to hurt him. And this is the thing. If you're thinking about Tampa, this is the interesting thing about the Rays. The Rays are in a business where they're looking to probably trade Blake Snell in the next 2 to 3 years because they can't afford his contract if he continues to pitch this way, where he becomes more expensive, where he becomes more of a albatross than an asset. So what do the Rays do? We're going to protect this young man. We're going to keep him under lock and key so
Yep.
that when it's time to trade him, his value is still good and we could recoup on our asset. And I know that sucks to be thinking that way, but the market dictates to you. You're in
Well,
Tampa. Your entire payroll, big dog, their entire payroll is $28 million. $28 million for the year. That's their payroll.
crazy. And just in general with baseball, I think getting younger people or gaining more of an audience
Right.
popularity is really declining. One, now because of the whole Astros cheating situation. I mean, I know that's kind of long gone, but that they'll never let that down.
You can't live it down. Right.
Right, that'll last forever. First of all, the game starting at 8:08 or 8:10, first pitch, lasting
Right.
5 hours. Start
Right.
the games at 7. I mean,
Right.
come on now.
Now, if you're going up against football, then you kind of got to do what you got to do. But it's so crazy how baseball continually shoots itself in the foot. And this is somebody who loves the sport from the scheduling part of it. The fact that the ratings are down because of the whole unwritten rules, which is another show for another time. However, I do think it's important to note that postseason games on average last 3.5, 4 hours.
Right.
So if you already know that these games are going to last this long and they're going to be this arduous to get through, start the games at 7. What are we doing here? And what about the kids that you are trying to attract to your sport that have school the next day, the people that have work the next day? Starting at 8 o'clock doesn't do any of that justice, especially when you're losing the younger audience, as you mentioned.
Yep. So I don't know. The baseball has a lot of potential to do the right thing and
It does
improve the sport. And yes, it may be drastic to some diehard baseball fans or purists, but yeah, we should look into certain things. But like you said, that's another whole nother show. We can talk about that. But
right. And I'll leave it at this is the last baseball point that I'm going to make real quick. Mookie Betts is the epitome of why the Dodgers made the move that they made. Now, you could question what were the Red Sox thinking when they traded him. That's a fair thing to ask. But if the Red Sox knew he wasn't coming back, which I have a good feeling that they knew, he's done. They offered him $300 million. He was like, I'm out. He didn't want your $300 million. He wanted to go in a market where he would be more, I don't want to say appreciated because he was appreciated in Boston, but he wanted to go in a market that was more suitable for him. And Mookie's like an LA guy. He's more of a smile, kind of lights up the city type of cat.
Right.
Charismatic cat that is
He loves the big
going.
stage, Hollywood, all that
Yes,
stuff. Yeah.
yes, that's him. But he does it in a very, very boyish, fun way where he doesn't rub me the wrong way.
No, never.
Watching Mookie play makes me feel like, damn, I want to show my future, you know, son or daughter, or if I'm lucky enough to have children, or even your kids, hey, you got to watch this Betts cat play because you ain't seen nothing until you seen this dude play. And he's starting to remind me, big dog. He's starting to take the mantle of this generation's Derek Jeter. Won a lot of World Series, popular. Kids love him. You know what I mean? Does it the right way.
Good role
Good
model.
with the
Yeah.
media. Yeah, got the smile that just lights up Los Angeles. You know what I mean? So I'm good. I'm good with saying he might be the Derek Jeter of the modern era. And I know Yankee fans are gonna say, "What about Judge?" Good question. Stay on the field. That would be my response. Stay on the field. Um, Speaking of staying on the field or coming off the field or any type of field, Justin Turner.
Let it out.
So, as we all know, and as we've been saying since the start of this very program, the world is in the middle of a pandemic, as we all know. So, you would think we're lucky to have sports. We're lucky to have baseball. We're lucky to have playoff baseball. Because, me as a fan, I didn't think we were going to get to this point. So I'm like, okay, we're gonna make it to the World Series. Everything's gonna be good. The whole bubble's gonna be sealed. We're all gonna make it. We're gonna make it. Fingers crossed, fingers, toes, arms, legs, whatever you got, cross them, because hopefully we make it. And here's one question I have, because I have several, but here's the first question that popped into my mind throughout when I found out Justin Turner had been, tested positive for COVID-19, which is how long did he have it?
Right?
How long did he have it, and how long did the Dodgers and Rays know before it was said?
Yep. You
And
wonder, right?
here's the other thing. Let's just say the Dodgers lose and there's a game 7. Justin Turner in the lineup? And do they tell you why he's not in the lineup? Or do they make up an excuse of, oh, he has a hamstring injury, he's not in there tonight? First of all, how transparent are you going to be with that? Two, so you pull him from the game, and I believe it was the 5th or 6th inning. So you had already been in there for 2 at bats at that point. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, he's been in there for 2 at bats. Who knows if the rest of his teammates got it? How many of his teammates got it? How fast did it spread throughout that clubhouse? Okay. And third and final question, and I want your feedback on all this, is so the game's over. Dodgers win, celebrating on the field. Everybody's going crazy as they should. First time in 32 years, LA Dodgers World Series champs. To the city of LA, I say congratulations. Justin Turner defies the protocol, defies that you got to self-isolate, Justin. You can't be on the field. He says, nah, bump that. I'm going out there with my boys. And his boys wanted him to take a picture. And I'm like, okay, cool. So at the beginning of the scrum, you see everybody wearing masks, mask up, all this.
Right.
When they get to the picture, they all take the mask off. Turner's on the field hugging guys. He's on the field. And I'm like, Forget about what your political beliefs are here. This has nothing to do with political beliefs. He's spreading what we know as a contagious virus around not only his teammates, their wives, and by the way, two of the Dodger wives are pregnant with children right now.
Some of the players, right, had their kids on the field. Like, I
Yeah.
don't understand how you can let him on. Now, if you
Clayton Kershaw had his girls on the field. One thing before I let you finish, before I let you start. Kenley Jansen, their closer, has a heart issue. He already had COVID already. He already had it. But he can't be around it because he has a heart issue. Like, he has an irregular heart. One of his heart valves are weaker than the other. How, in the name of all that is holy, is Justin Turner on that field without a mask on? I'm done.
I don't know. And if he wanted to go out there and take one picture out on the field, I wouldn't. I would have let his teammates come off the field, or go into the locker room and have him come out by himself if he wanted to take a picture with the trophy and him and his wife with a mask on, or if you want to take it down for a quick second, but not talk, not just quick, boop, smile, your trophy, and then put your mask back on, or just leave it on in general because you don't want to take a chance.
Right.
I mean, like, I understand it's a once in a lifetime thing, but this is different. Like you said, it could spread that quickly to a teammate, to then their wife, to a child. So they could, like you said, have pre-existing conditions. Now who knows how many Dodgers have it or could potentially show symptoms of it in the coming days. Now, I know him and his wife are still in Arlington, Texas, but the rest of the team flew back to LA, I heard. They didn't even stay in Texas.
No, yeah, they flew back the next morning. He's quarantined at where the hotel is. And by the way, Justin Turner has kids. What's up, Elijah? What's going on? A lot of this is disconcerting, man. And then Rob Manfred. Not a good look having your commissioner.
Yeah, you told me something, and he was in a, let's just say, happy mood after the game.
He was very, I'll say this, he was very, very inebriated.
Not good.
Because when he watched the clip of him presenting the truck to Corey Seager for the MVP, and he sounded like he was talking insane. And I'm like, this ain't good. And he's on national TV. By the way, this is still on Fox. This is the national broadcast with Burkhardt, A-Rod, Frank Thomas, and Big Papi. And he sounded like he was about a halfway down the bottle of Jack Daniels. And I'm like, okay, so we're just going to let this roll now? Sure, great. I'll play along. And so much for the freaking bubble. The bubble became...
And I'm sorry, they looked like there was a lot of people in that stadium for the World Series. I know it was about totally full.
There was about 12,000 in there, bro. Big Dog is like, yo, what are you doing?
Whatever, that's their choice. I disagree with it. I think but again, congratulations to the Dodgers. Congrats we both love.
Yes.
Yeah, Dodger fans have been waiting a long time.
Question for you guys: do you think
Oh, I say Mookie Betts.
No,
I,
it's wow. I would have to go with Mookie Betts, but I'm still not. I'm still, Mike Trout is special. Watching what that guy can do on a night in night out basis. Although him not making the playoffs kind of hurts that candidacy a little bit. So
yeah, you barely hear about him too.
that's because he plays in California, where it's by the time he gets settled in.
Anaheim. It's not. Imagine if he was on the Dodgers. Forget. Oh my lord.
Oh my God! Can you imagine if
him and Mookie on the
Oh
same
my
team?
God! Check this out. No. Take him out of LA. Put him in. Imagine him in Philly
His
or
hometown.
somewhere in the Northeast where you could see him every day.
Yeah. Him and Bryce Harper.
Listen, I'm about to start crying. All right, don't do that. It's and this is the problem that baseball faces in terms of its popularity. You have when you have guys like Mike Trout and Bryce Harper and your biggest stars not making the playoffs.
Yep.
Problem with that, Elijah, he's happy where he is. He's happy where he is. Because if he wasn't happy, he wouldn't have took the money. And that's what he wanted was the money. Now, I'm not gonna say I don't think it'd be hard for me to say no to a $430 million. I don't think I would say no to that. And you're living in beautiful weather, so it
All
kind of
year
beats
round. I mean, come on. You have contracts worth more than 8 NHL teams, which I'll never understand how much of our baseball players could get played that much, but could get paid that much.
When I sent you that, you were like, that's not real life. I'm like, yeah, it is. He's that rich. Oh man. So all in all, decent World Series. Just wish it wasn't so clouded in controversy, if you will.
And the real question is, how are you handling this now with no baseball for another however many months? Because you had a load of it from July to now.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the sense from you? Because I'm concerned. I love you, I care about you, and I know you're a baseball guy. Like, because you asked me with hockey, like, Big Dog, how you holding up? Nick, how you doing?
I'm dying, bro. I'm counting down the days to spring training like a fat kid looking for a new bakery to open. I'm like, can we do this already? Can we do this? Good thing the Browns are keeping me. It's somewhat
right, and you're back on the
football, but
you're really into it this year, so it's nice.
Yeah, that's the one distracting part is knowing, you got football on Sundays. I love college, so that's keeping me in track. But I'm dying for it, man. I want to come back and listen. There's a lot of storylines that we're going to get into during the off season. What I will say is this, and we're going to get to this Cohen and De Blasio thing in a bit, but these are the type of moments in the off season where you're like, okay, I wonder what this off season is going to look like. What should the Yankees do to get the World Series title back? Very interesting question. My answer is I don't know. Because, and the reason why my answer is I don't know is, like we've mentioned before, it's so analytically driven. It's so numbers based. It's your roster is virtually the same. You can't trade anybody. Giancarlo Stanton's stuck on your payroll for the next 7 years. You can't really move in terms of okay. I want to. First of all, they got to bring DJ LeMahieu back. That has to happen, or I'm rioting. I'm rioting. I'm personally gonna riot. I'm done. I quit. If DJ LeMahieu is not back on this team next year, I will be devastated. Devastated. But I don't know if you can do anything else. Like I don't know if there's not a magic wand because Ownership has already come out and said they're not willing to spend money. Where the Mets, on the other hand, they depending on how Cohen and this whole thing plays out, they could be somebody who I wouldn't say spends crazy money, but at least looks at the deeper part of the pool and goes, I think I want to go swimming in this part of the
It's
pool.
going to take a couple of years, but
Right. But
Met fans have been longing for it, though.
Yes, you guys are dying. You guys are like Knicks fans. We're in that same group. But honestly, man, it's a lot of – we have to see how it all plays out this offseason with everything, with the money, with the cap and all that stuff. But we'll see what happens. Speaking of money and the Mets and all this, so de Blasio versus Cohen is where we're at, where we are right now.
On the back of one of the papers today here in the city that they had them boxing gloves ready to duke it out. So it's going to be a battle.
Here's my issue, or here's my reason for feeling how I feel. I think Steve Cohen's eventually going to get approval of the team. I think Major League Baseball is going to approve him because that's an influx of cash they desperately want.
Mm-hmm.
Steve Cohen owning the Mets is not the issue. Steve Cohen wanting to build around Citi Field, where the chop shops are, where these local businesses are, where everything is, that is where the issue stems from. So unless there is a resolution where Cohen is able to come to terms with de Blasio and say, hey, man, let's kind of talk this out, we're going to be here for a little bit. We're going to be here for a bit. And it sucks because the Mets and the fan base, just the fan base, getting put through the ringer again for such garbage. I'm sorry, but this is garbage. I mean, I understand it's a business, and I understand that both sides are doing what's best for them. De Blasio says he's protecting the city. I would beg to differ on that because I've heard some things which I will not, divulge on the show. But it just sucks, man. Because the moment you think there's a ray of sunshine, here comes the crap birds.
What did I say? Something's going to happen. Something's going to come down, but nobody, it's going to happen. Don't worry. I'm like, all right. It's the Mets. It's the Mets. Don't be shocked.
Oh, my God. Yo, you are so beyond scarred. It's not even funny. Like, it's like he's you're just waiting for the negative. He's like, nah, this is gonna get screwed up. Just pay attention. I'm like, good Lord, man. But I can't blame you because look, here we are. Here we are. That sounded like it hurt.
A little bit.
I don't know, man. It sucks because I think de Blasio ultimately lets the sale go through. But the fact that you're going through all this about what's around the ballpark and what is it going to look like, that is where we have some issues. And I wish it wasn't so complicated because Met fans deserve this, man. You guys been getting put through the ringer for the last 35 years. Can you help? Can you help the fan base out, please? Can you help them out? I mean, the guy got more money than most of us will ever see on our lifetimes, and we're saying we're just going to make life difficult for him. I just wish de Blasio just comes to his senses and says, listen, this is good for the city, because if the Mets are good, then Met fans in the city will be thankful for life. You saw what it was like in 2015, bro. The city was on its ear that the Mets
it was exciting. There's Mets stuff everywhere, and people were into it. Now, some of them were probably bandwagoners, all right. But in general, the diehard Met fans were stoked, as they should be. And the city was it was electric. I went to
Yeah,
Game 4 of the World Series. It was amazing. The atmosphere was nuts.
I remember telling you before the postseason, you guys are going to the World Series. Why do you think that? Like I'm telling you. And look, they went, and it was probably one of the most historical runs I've ever seen. First of all, Daniel Murphy. I don't even think he's cooled off yet. I think he's still the jersey was still on fire.
Oh my Lord! You knew he was going to hit a home run in every game. You knew it.
And the Mets let him go. Oh my God!
Yeah, and went to the Nationals and killed us. So
Lit it up.
Life of the Mets.
I think it's appropriate to sing the song "Meet the Mets, Meet the Mets."
Hopefully they'll get it together one day.
And you're not 90 and who do you have more faith in, them or the Jets?
I mean, if Cohen happens, I would say the Mets. I mean, for God's sakes. Although,
Yo, poor big dog, God Almighty.
I mean, if you look at like playoff history, since
Johnny boy.
Hey,
What's going on,
by
man?
the way, Skip, your birthday tomorrow. Happy early birthday! I'll be texting you tomorrow.
Early happy birthday, all right? You're gonna get a text from me too. There, don't worry about it. But early happy birthday to you. Damn, we're old. How old is he? 16?
Yeah.
Yo, we're old. We're old, kid. No doubt about it. Yeah, I think the Mets are gonna give you some solace before it's all said and done. Hopefully, they let Cohen in here, but it's time to debut a new segment on this show, and this new segment is Nick's Corner. And you might be wondering, well, what is Nick's Corner? Nick's Corner is a news/question and answer segment for your hockey loving enthusiasts who are into the sports across the world.
Sorry to cut you off. Before we get into that, which we will, I know you wanted to get into college sports, right? Before we go to Nick's Corner, and also too, I have to move rooms. I'm gonna go upstairs, so I'm just gonna sign off for like 5 minutes, and then I'm gonna rejoin. Is that cool?
There we go.
I don't want interrupting people coming in, so I'll be back.
Sounds good. All right, so while Nick moves rooms and goes upstairs, there has been some allegations around college basketball that coaches are taking bribes to the universities, and student athletes are being verbally and physically assaulted, or just being put down for a myriad of reasons. And another coach was fired a couple days ago. The University of, I believe it's Indiana, officially fired its head basketball coach for incendiary remarks against a student who was trying out for his basketball team, who he said had buggy whip arms and was too short and shouldn't be playing on his basketball team. And the reason why it became a national story is because the student has a growth defect where he was only able to grow to about 5'6", 5'7", but he was highly recruited by some colleges because he has a very, very to above average jump shot and handle. So he chose Indiana because he wanted to play for the head coach that was at Indiana. It turns out this head coach is fired and the university is under investigation for this. So it's happening more in college sports, and you see it also throughout the pandemic with all these different universities who are saying we really want to be out there playing these fall sports, whether it be basketball or football. And these universities, a lot of these kids are popping up with positive COVID tests, and you're wondering, when is it going to change and when are they going to come to grips with it? And the truth is, these universities, all they want is your money. They don't really care about anything else other than your money. And the evidence with that is the Big Ten shut down. They said, oh, we're not going to play winter sports. And now they were talked into it by other members of certain universities because eventually they realized if we don't do something about this, we're going to be left off the gravy train, if you will. And it sucks because these kids have no unions. These kids they don't have anybody fighting for them. And you just wish that it wasn't so deviant. You wish it wasn't so money driven, and it feels very money driven.
I'm back.
And wow, you ran. Look at that. It feels very money driven. I was just thinking, I was just thinking, Johnny boy, anytime, man. I was just telling the viewers that, college, it seems all about the money right now, more than the professional sports, because these kids have no unions, they have nobody backing them, and it sucks seeing them get taken advantage of, whether it's with a coach saying something crazy or the stuff you're seeing with the coronavirus, how they just continue to play sports and things are not
having buildings, all that stuff. Insane.
Right.
What's
the
up,
NCAA
Rick?
is horrible. Goes in the organization, the fans, to boycott college sports. The only thing they care about is money. Disgusting, because the players make none of that money. You're 100% right. You're 100% right. And the term student athlete, can we just stop this garbage? Like, you're making this university millions upon millions of dollars. And do you see a dime of that money? The answer, quite honestly, is no. No. And I just wish it wasn't so vindictive. I wish that these kids, nobody's looking out for these kids, man. It's really sad. Watching for God.
Oh, Rick, you putting extra pressure on me? Come on. Nah, I'm all prepared. I got my notes.
No, but that's what I wanted. That's what I really wanted to get into. And Coach K even says that this is not right. He slammed the NCAA, saying you shouldn't be putting these kids at risk for playing sports that they, I wouldn't say they're meaningless, but these kids get no benefit out of it other than either they can be redshirted or they can leave school whenever they choose to. So it's unfortunate. It sucks. Anyway, we're on to the premiere. Nicky boy, you got your own corner there, man. He got his own corner. All right, I want to start this corner with another controversial topic, since we seem to be on the controversial theme today.
Might as well.
So the Arizona Coyotes. And Big Dog, you lay out the story, because if I tell the story, I'm gonna get disgusting.
So basically, Arizona Coyotes announced they will renounce the rights to Mitch Miller. He was selected in the 4th round or 111th overall this year's 2020 NHL draft. And the backstory, and I'll read quotes from a couple of articles and one from the statement that Coyotes put out, which is a travesty, to be honest. They drafted this kid. He's 18 years old. Knowing his history, because in every sport, the front offices usually do the due diligence, and which the Coyotes did, looking at his history, if he's done anything wrong or, he's a bad guy. which he is, and I'm going to get into that now, they still drafted him knowing that back in school, high school, and for all these years, there was this student or classmate that he bullied. I should specify that he's an African American student, calling him racial slurs, bullying him, teasing him, and he's African American. So besides the racial slurs, he also has mental delays and disabilities, and they did something to him. They tricked him to doing something. I'm not going to get into it because what I read is absolutely horrifying. Absolutely horrifying.
Yeah. Right.
And this, I'm just going to read the statement first, and then, I'll read from this article from Craig Harrison, Jose Romero of azcentral.com. Coyotes last month boasted about having their chief executive selected to an elite NHL committee pledged to stop racism. But the team spent the pick on the 18-year-old who has admitted it, to bullying an African-American classmate with developmental disabilities. Now, here's the statement that Arizona Coyotes put out. And I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I'll read bits of it. We have decided to renounce the rights to Mitchell Miller, effective immediately, said Coyotes president and CEO Xavier Gutierrez. Prior to selecting Mitchell in the NHL draft, we were aware that a bullying incident took place in 2016. We do not condone this type of behavior, but embraced this as a teachable moment to work with Mitchell to make him accountable for his actions and provide him with an opportunity to be a leader on anti-bullying and anti-racism efforts. We have learned more about the entire matter and, more importantly, the impact it has had on Isaiah, who was the name of the student who unfortunately got bullied, and the Meyer Schroeder's family. What we learned does not align with the core values and vision for our organization and leads to our decision to renounce our draft rights. On behalf of the Arizona Coyotes ownership and our entire organization, I mean, it goes on and on, but it's absolutely despicable. It's disgusting. It's horrible. The fact that they knew about this, and they still drafted him, said all of that, and then, draft him, and then now you renounce his draft status. I think that's really because of the backlash the organization has gotten. Look, people do bad things and get second chances, but personally, to me, that guy shouldn't have gotten drafted by anybody. That's disgusting.
Look,
bullying somebody, calling them racial slurs, and then tricking them into doing something because they have developmental delay or developmental disabilities. That just upsets me and you to the core, because we were reading it together, that statement, before we went on air, and it's absolutely horrifying. And the NHL too. I'm sorry, I should say.
I'm sorry, but the fact that there's no statement from Gary Bettman on the subject, the fact that there's no statement from anybody in the NHL, the fact that the players union hasn't spoken up against this. Oh, and you leave it to the Coyotes to make such a generic statement, that's horrible. Whoever is in the organization, whoever made the pick and they knew about it, I don't care if he's a minority and they're trying to get minorities in the sport, which I have griped about for years. If you knew that and you still allow him to make that draft pick, the person who drafted him should be fired immediately.
Agreed.
Immediately.
Agreed.
Today. his position should be stripped, and he should never be allowed to work in an NHL front office again. Because the fact that you
100%.
knew about it and you still made the pick, and you say you're using it as a teachable moment.
Are you kidding me?
How tone deaf do you sound? That is beyond the realm of incompetence. That's just you being, oh, we're gonna make the pick anyway because we're gonna see people that we want to teach about bullying. And first of all, he has mental issues. If I'm the Arizona Coyotes, I pay his medical bills for the rest of his life.
Yes.
You do something so the kid never has to worry about being bullied or anything like that ever again. You as an organization should step out and say his health and his medical bills are now our responsibility for something that we caused because we drafted this kid and gave this story a national platform. So we should bear the brunt of it.
I'm sorry to cut you off. I just want to mention they get into a little like graphic detail of how they bullied him, but then it went on to say like they got quotes from the student, unfortunately, who got bullied, and he was disappointed, upset. He couldn't believe it. He was shocked that an NHL team can draft this person for what he did. It's just horrible, absolutely horrible. And I mean, yes, they renounced it, okay, so he's not going to play in the NHL, but you shouldn't have drafted him in the first place. And you say that, oh, we knew about it, but we still did it. What? You're joking me, right? You knew about it, and you still drafted him.
That's beyond disgusting. I'm sorry. It's that's beyond the pale, man. And I'm sorry we started this corner this way, but I think it's important that we talk about these issues on this show.
I wasn't going to bring up, but I feel like I had to bring it up because it's just terrible. It's just awful.
And it shines a light on one of the biggest problems in sports. If you can play, we'll accept you no matter how you are. If you can play and if you can contribute to the team and if you can do the things that make you can make us successful.
Really don't care.
Look at Greg Hardy throwing his girlfriend on a bed of guns. Chad Ochocinco in his situation. You know what I mean? Several situations where you're just like, and you back in the league playing, man? Or you drafted him anyway and you knew about whatever it is that he did? Stuff just breaks your heart. Just breaks your heart.
Awful. Absolutely awful. In other hockey news, Rick Bowness, something good. Officially signed as the Stars head coach, so congratulations to him. He came in later on in the season, like December, late November, December-ish. I believe came in as the interim head coach, took them to the Stanley Cup final. This year they lost.
I have a question regarding that.
Oh, go ahead.
How do you think this coaching hire? What do you think it puts Dallas in terms of the free agent market? Do you think players want to come play for him? Do you think it sets them up to go back there next year, or do you think they have to kind of recalibrate?
I'm really in love with Dallas for a while. In terms of like just as a hockey fan watching that, like I always thought they can be that Stanley Cup team because they had the pedigree, they had the players. And I mean, adding Pavelski and Corey Perry, who, yes, are veterans and older, but I think they were huge components this year. And also, too, you have Jamie Benn still, Tyler Seguin. They have a solid defense.
Right.
Anton Hudobin in goal. They signed him back in free agency, so he'll be in Dallas. And Rick Bowness has been in the league for years. He has tons of experience. And I think that's going to bring free agents to Dallas. I mean, a big city, cheap living in Texas. a team that just was in a Stanley Cup final. Who you're playing with? No state income tax. Right. Alexander Radulov, Sagan, Ben, Corey Perry, Joe Pavelski, Heiskanen, Hudobin, Klingberg. I could go on and on. I can name the roster, but not going to do that.
Can you say loaded?
Gosh. I mean, and the West is loaded already, but the Stars, I mean, they're defending Western Conference champs, so they're going to be a force to be reckoned with. But to answer your question, that will be a very hot destination for future free agents. And by the way, go look up their new third jerseys. Rick, I know you're big into alternate jerseys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a big move, Skip, for the White Sox. Before we end the show, we're gonna get Stephen thoughts on that.
Rick, if you see this jersey, you're gonna.
Rick, Google. And actually, every team is gonna have a third jersey this year. The Star came out with one, Golden Knights, which is my god. The Flyers and Penguins released.
That Dallas one is.
I'm praying the Islanders have an orange jersey because then I'm getting it.
If they do, I'm buying one.
I have the last orange jersey that they had like 100 years ago. So I'm hoping for a new. I mean, I treasure it. I love it. But yeah.
Wait, is that the one I wore?
Yeah, and when you lost the bet. Yeah.
Oh.
I'll never forget that day. Yeah, Rick. Woke up this. Yeah. That green. Yeah. Glow in the dark, but it's cool though. I like it. The Golden Knights is my favorite so far because finally your team's name is Golden Knights. You needed a gold jersey. Yeah.
I saw that green one. I was like, well, ball.
But yeah, I'm super excited that all the teams are going to have like their jerseys again. So that should be cool.
Yes.
Couple more hockey things.
Real quick, another hockey question for you because I'm super curious what you think about this.
Okay.
Now, this relates to the Islanders, but I'm going to spin it and say it is a national thing.
Okay.
Oh.
Oh, he might go get one now. The Stars fitted? Come on now. And your favorite color is green, Rick. So it's perfect.
Yeah. So there's been rumors about Matthew Barzal. And I want to be careful how I preference these comments.
I think I know where you're going with it. I've heard the same things, but I don't believe it. But go ahead.
No. You might not have heard this yet.
Okay, let's tell me and then. Okay.
All right. So the rumors are that, the Islanders, they want to re-sign him. They want to keep him on the orange and blue for a very, very long time.
Okay, now, so this is good. We should sign him back.
But here's the thing. You have so many other teams fighting for his services.
Mm-hmm.
Vegas, Chicago, San Jose, and this one caught me. This one had me doing the double take. Philadelphia. Philadelphia is one of those teams. Hey. Make that fit in my room.
Yeah, look up the Dallas Stars hats. Oh my, their logo is awesome. Awesome. Yeah, Rick's gonna go buy one now tonight. He's gonna go on lids.com and go get it fit.
No, but like where do you see this ending up? Take your the glasses off for a second, which I know is hard for you to do, but as a casual hockey observer, where do you see this ending up eventually?
Hockey watcher, but you know,
Okay,
I knew it.
so mental case hockey fan. That's
Okay.
more like it.
Yes, that's the perfect description.
How do you see this playing out, man? Where are you? Of course, we know you want him back with your boys, and with a player and a skill of his caliber, I wouldn't blame you. However, looking at the hockey landscape, where do you think this puts you guys? Or where do you think it puts him and you guys?
Here's what I'm gonna say. I'll play devil's advocate. On the Islanders, I think he does end up back. I think they will give him his money. Now, if he asks for an astronomical price, and look, I mean, he's a superstar talent. I mean, I understand if he wants, because he ain't gonna settle for like 4, 5, 6 million. He's gonna want maybe 8, 9 mil. Lou, listen, on those championship Devil teams, I mean, there was really no superstar player really to be found, especially a forward that I can really recall. You always think of, obviously, Brodeur, Scott Stevens, Ken Danico, who were both defensemen. I mean, you had Needham.
Scott Stevens, you just brought me back 90 years.
Niedermeyer, you had talent, but it wasn't like studded team, so to speak. You know what I mean? Like the flashy names. Yeah, because Scott Stevens take your head off at center. I mean, look up Scott Stevens hits. I mean, it's kind of frightening. The open ice hits that guy would deliver. But would I be shocked if Barzal didn't end up getting signed? A little bit, but at the same time, Lou, and again, he didn't draft Barzal, so he kind of doesn't have really an allegiance to him. But I think since Tavares left, I think he knows that he's that next guy up. And that performance in Toronto really showed it a couple years ago.
Yeah.
That he's the guy to take this team. Now, are there moments where I want to be like, Barzal, what are you doing? Stop holding on to the puck. Stop, pass the puck or shoot it. Yeah, and Lou, if he had there, he'd probably be pulling it out. But the kid's talented, and I think you got to give him what he wants to sign him. Now, those teams are interesting. Look at Vegas. They're going all in every year. Look who they just signed Alex Pietrangelo. Philly is interesting just because they're in the Islanders division and they're a rival. Who else did you say? What was the other team?
Chicago.
See, they're a rebuilding team. I think Barzal would be, now again, though, they still are probably going to keep Keith, Taze, Kane. But they're older. I can't see them winning a cup. Barzal, I mean, and in Vegas, that big of a stage, he might want it. I don't know. But I think ultimately he gets signed back by the Islanders. But there is a possibility. Go ahead.
I'm hearing rumors about Calgary, him and Johnny Gaudreau playing together with the Flames.
He also is from Western Canada. He's from British Columbia, so being closer to home. Who knows when the Seattle franchise comes in the league because he played his minor league hockey there. Again, not far from Vancouver and BC, where I just mentioned he's from. So if he wanted to play like the home card and kind of go back to the West Coast.
Although that hasn't worked out well for Tavares, so I don't know.
Apparently not. Yeah, I feel bad for the dude, but he's in a rough spot. I thought they would win one there, but I don't know. That team is a whole nother story.
Yeah. Now with Dubas and his idiot lieutenants there.
Speaking of free agents, though, top 10 list of 2021 free agents. Alex Ovechkin.
He's already looking for next year.
Gabriel Landeskog, your boy.
My boy.
Dougie Hamilton. Tuukka Rask, Taylor Hall, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, Thomas Tatar, David Krejci, Blake Coleman, and Jaden Schwartz. Yo, Lou better be talking to some of them now, and come to the island. We got the new arena coming. We're in Stanley Cup contain.
Look at this guy blatantly saying, "Hey, let's tamper
Come
with
on, we got the new arena. We have 3 years left with Lou and Barry. We gotta
look at this tampering SOB. Look at this. Look.
I'm just saying, make calls.
I mean, they're under contract. You kind of can't talk to them there, but it's kind of illegal.
All right, don't do that. Wait until free agency, then call them. I'm not promoting tampering or anything illegal. Just saying, when their free agency period starts, that's what I want.
He's like, yo, I know they signed, but Lou gotta be making some calls, dog. Like, this needs to happen.
Not yet, Lou. What's up? I'm about to get into some soccer in a few minutes, so you might want to stay tuned for that. Got a lot of soccer here. And speaking of, I know you wanted to ask me what I think about the start dates and all that, but I came up with a bubble idea, and I want to get your thoughts on it. If they even go there, which again we don't know. I was thinking this. Let's say you keep the bubbles in Canada, because I thought that worked tremendous. Awesome. I think it was a great idea. Smart on the NHL. How about you have 4 in the West, right? Vancouver, Edmonton, Calgary, Winnipeg. And you have 4 teams in each bubble. And then on the East, you have all 3 Eastern Canadian cities, and then you pick 1 U.S. city. One with the least amount of COVID infection rates. And you have 4 teams like in each bubble that play each other.
That might work. I think I like that idea.
I mean, I know it's out there and they're going to be playing each other so much, but in a way that's kind of cool. You keep the rivalry base. You're playing each other multiple times. Maybe you can travel from a close, like Vancouver to Edmonton or something like that, or Ottawa to Montreal,
right,
to play each other, but something like that. Do you think that could logistically work? And again, it's just a spitball and an idea out there.
Of course, but I also think that the NHL is also considering doing what you said, which is keeping the bubbles in Canada and just housing everybody as like a central hub, because they don't really want anybody flying yet. That's one thing that the NHL has objected to thus far, is having anybody flying. So they're really a proponent of this bubble idea, because if you do the bubble idea, then it takes all the travel out. And the NBA is also kind of going back and forth with this too. And this also plays a part in it, is when does the season actually start? How many games are you going to be able to get in? Because they want the Cup champion crowned and the NBA champion crowned before the Olympics at the end of next year.
Right. It is. It's a lot. It's a lot to discuss. So they haven't yet, Rick. Yeah, I don't know. The NBA and NHL, I think they have to go back into a bubble, because I don't really believe, especially that they want to start in winter time. You're not going to have fans in buildings yet. So I don't think there's really I don't think they can have it in their regular arenas, in my opinion. again, things could change in a couple months, but from what you hear and
Right.
I follow, it don't seem
And
that way.
if they're talking about a January start date, which is what they're targeting, which is
Right.
January, I'm hearing January 8th, but that's not set in stone. But it's a little crazy right now to think, that they want teams in their home arenas. That's the thing that both leagues are struggling with. I know the
And he
NBA
said it too. He's
would
like,
like
we
that
are definitely playing in the Coliseum next year at some point. So we'll see what
for
happens.
whatever that for whatever that's worth.
I'm done. I missed the Coliseum so bad, man. And I can't wait for the
All right.
UBS arena.
Real quick, I got some soccer questions lined up, Fire.
Okay, and I got some things I want to do, but ask your questions first.
My questions, one of them is, how big is this Ronaldo news now that he's still not cleared of COVID and he's supposed to have his fourth test sometime in the next couple of days, if I remember reading correctly?
Yeah, not good. He's tested 3 times in a row positive for COVID. He missed the clash with Lionel Messi in Barcelona yesterday. Juve lost 2-0. So you're definitely missing him. But it is big for Juventus in the league and the Champions League especially, because I know that's a trophy they strive to win, especially because, I mean, honestly, and the Serie A, the Italian Serie A has been pretty competitive the past couple of seasons, but normally, I mean, it's like a walk in the park for Juventus. Like, they just kind of win it in like December, like it's over. Where the Champions League, you're going up against, not that the Italian league isn't great, because I mean you have Napoli, the 2 Milan teams, but it's not like going up against Liverpool, Real Madrid, Barcelona,
Wow.
Bayern Munich.
It's like a step down from the powerhouse squads, basically, is what you're saying.
Kind of. Right, because Champions League, you're going, especially when you get to the knockout rounds and stuff, you're going up against the big boys of Europe.
Also, the 19-year-old kid that just debuted, and I also have a question about Pulisic, because how do you think their games match up? Are they comparable? The kid that we just saw debut and Pulisic, or is one more advanced than the other?
It's funny because I actually have a story on Pulisic here in front of me, but it's interesting because, both of them are skilled. I think Pulisic is really the guy right now for the United States national team and who American soccer fans look to as the next coming or the next Landon Donovan or Clint Dempsey. Serginho Dest is great. He's a little younger than Pulisic. Pulisic, remember, played in Dortmund, so in the German Bundesliga, before he made the move to the Premier League in Chelsea. And listen, Ajax is one of the greatest clubs in the world. They're in not such a great league, to be honest. But they have produced, star after star after star. And also, too, they usually go to a Barcelona or they move on to an even bigger team than Ajax, but they're very good at developing talent. And I think they did the right thing with Dest and also now playing in Barca. And they embrace him too, which I think is great, that they're embracing American talent. And it's funny because there's a little bit of, say, drama, but a little bit. A lot of drama tonight on this show. But basically, the coach of
as the great Vince McMahon once said, if you ain't trying for that, if you ain't going for the brass ring, pal, you ain't trying, pal. I don't know why I just thought of the Vince McMahon quote, because there's always a lot of drama. So drama's good, pal. You gotta have a competitive dressing room, pal. For you wrestling fans, you know that if you've listened to podcasts with others, you know where that comes from. But No, there's always drama with soccer. I'm like, yo, you
Yeah,
guys are like the soap opera sport. Like,
basically what happened was the coach Jesse Marsh, who actually used to coach New York Red Bulls,
oh
awesome,
wow.
awesome. The boss of FC Salzburg in Austria, Jesse Marsh, who used to coach New York Red Bulls, he's an American
Mm-hmm.
coach coaching over in Europe, which is pretty cool. He said he had a conversation with Lampard after Chelsea faced the Bundesliga side, the Austrian Bundesliga side, in July 2019, where Lampard suggested Pulisic had a lot to learn following his arrival from Borussia Dortmund. Lampard says, quote, never doubted Pulisic's ability to thrive in the Premier League and praised the willingness of American players to adapt to European conditions. Last year, in 25 starts he made for Chelsea, he scored 9 goals and 4 assists, which ain't bad. That's pretty good. But there always is that stigma, I feel like, where American players, and look, I get it. Jesse Marsh is American, so American coaches, I feel, and I'm actually listening to Bruce Arena's audiobook, which is actually really good about American soccer and all that. But to get down to the point, there's that stigma where, a lot of European coaches or players look down on Americans, but I think that is changing. I mean, you look at the amount of American talent. Honestly, half of the U.S. national men's and even the women's now are playing in Europe, like Alex Morgan,
Wow.
Kristen Press of the women's team are playing from the Manchester United women's team, the Tottenham Hotspur women's team. So,
wow.
Weston McKennie is playing for Juventus, which is huge. There's guys in the Bundesliga. There's Pulisic in the Premier League. Dest is playing for possibly the biggest team on earth in Barcelona. Or Barcelona, excuse me.
How do you think that, what type of impact do you think this is going to have on the U.S. national team when it's time for the Olympics? Do you think the fact that they're getting experience over there, playing in these different leagues, seeing how fierce the competitiveness is, do you think it helps them when they get back to the national team and say, let's go win these things?
I think it does. And, the Olympics is something that U.S. men have failed to qualify a couple times already, and the World Cup, as we saw a few years ago, which has set American soccer back. But I think this can really help them qualify for both tournaments.
Right.
But it is a tough process. And you know what? Maybe Lampard was doubting Pulisic at first. I mean, we can't read his mind, but who knows? Maybe he did doubt. Maybe he didn't. But I'm not that big of a Lampard fan anyway. But, he's saying he never doubted Pulisic's ability. But there was that kind of in the beginning, like, is he really ready? Is he not? People were saying that, right. People were either killing him or people were like, all right, maybe let's not jump ship just yet and kill this guy for saying the things he's saying. But again, like, as American soccer fans, like them, an Englishman or a Spaniard or any European coach saying that about an American fans get defensive. I mean, which is understandable, but sometimes you got to take it with a grain of salt. But,
right.
It's just interesting. But sometimes I think, like, do you really have faith in him? Like, why aren't you starting him here? What you really should be playing him now. He's talented, all that sort of stuff.
Right. Listen, and the actions are going to speak louder than words, I feel like. If somebody really trusts you, they're going to start you.
Jesse Marsh, like, I get where he's coming from. Because it is like, really, do you really mean that? You know what I'm saying? And to your, that's a great point. Actions speak louder than words. Absolutely.
Right.
Some Euro 2020 news. I'm almost finished here, and then we're going to wrap up. The Euros, which were set to be this past summer, but now they're going to be next summer. The Euros could be staged in fewer host cities, UEFA president says. Originally was going to be in 12 countries. So it was going to be in 12 cities around the continent, which was a great idea, I thought. But obviously now with the pandemic, you don't want teams and staff and fans included traveling country to country to country, which is fairly easy in Europe to do. It's almost like crossing state lines here. So this is a quote from the UEFA president. But I have to say that instead of 12 countries, we could do a Euro instead in 11, in 8, in 5, or in one country. So they're kind of leaving everything out on the table right now.
So. And a lot of it is depending on how quick the virus spreads, or this virus is dictating everything. So, yes, you want to keep your options open, which is smart, but you also don't want to make any promises or make any false moves, because then you hurt yourself business-wise. So that's a smart move. But I think ultimately they're going to decide between 1 and 5 cities, keep the travel short, and let's try and, shorten this up as much as we can. 1 in 5 countries, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Or they could pick one country to keep it contained, or 2.
Right. Or, and use them as like bubble sites.
Right. Yep. So I'm just going to run through some scores quick. And before we go, because John mentioned Tony La Russa, that was big news today. I wanted to get your take on that before we head out, and we'll preview briefly this Thursday night game. The Champions League, Champions League scores from this week: Atletico Madrid 3, FC Salzburg 2. Atletico doing well so far in this campaign.
You hear that? He's saying that with some flavor. Atletico Madrid.
Oh, I got more for you here. Real Madrid 2 and Borussia Mönchengladbach 2. Yeah, Real Madrid, no win so far, 1 draw and 1 loss. Now looking
to Can you say
Manchester City 3, Marseille 0, Atalanta, who's in the Italian Serie A, 2, Ajax, the Dutch club we were talking about earlier, 2, Barca 2, Juve 0, Manchester United 5, RB Leipzig 0. And then a couple of scores from the Europa League today. My Tottenham today, tough 1-0 loss to Antwerp, who's a Belgian club. They lost 1-0. Thank you. Thank you. Leicester City 2, AEK Athens from the Greek League 1. And then,
goddamn, I feel like I've been around the world and I didn't even leave my living room.
Oh, I got more. We're just gonna do Premier League. I'm gonna put on my British accent. All right, so just be ready.
Oh, here we go.
Listen, the people want it. I can feel it. They want the English British accent. So, we got tomorrow afternoon. Wolves versus Crystal Palace. Saturday, you got Sheffield United and Manchester City. Burnley versus Chelsea. So you'll get to see Christian Pulisic in action. Liverpool and West Ham. Very, very cheeky matchup there in Liverpool. Sunday, my Tottenham Hotspur against Brighton. Hopefully we win that game. Aston Villa and Southampton. You got Newcastle. Had to do the Newcastle accent. Then Everton. Very good matchup here. Manchester United against Arsenal. Big rivalry there. And then on Monday, you have Fulham and West Brom, and then Leeds versus Leicester. That is your Premier League weekend's matches. Feel like I should be on the BBC with this accent. What do you think? I think I'll be a very good Brit. I can really fool people with this accent.
I mean, my goodness. My goodness. That was just epic.
Thank you so much for the compliments, mate.
There you go, man.
I mean, that was Nick's corner.
You don't get this nowhere else but on this show, baby. Because we're international, baby. I'm gonna start calling you Nick the Aristocrat. Nick the Aristocrat.
No, but that was fun. That was Nick's corner. I know it ran long, but I think everyone seemed to enjoy it. So,
hey, man, it's a once a week thing, man. So, listen, we want to provide you with different. We want to give you something that you can hear him, talk about the sports he enjoys. And I'm gonna have more questions, and we're gonna get some more lined up. I know we started it kind of heavy with the whole Coyotes thing, but
there was some tidbits of my bubble idea and some other stuff. So, and I did my accents and pretty
you heard you well you know.
Well, I mean, gotta do the accents. Gotta say the names, the way they say it over there. So it's all good. But to wrap up the show, Tony La Russa will be the next Chicago White Sox manager. What are your thoughts? Because he's been out of the game. Wow, thank you, Rick. I'm honored. Thank you.
Yeah, baby. We got Big Dog. That's it. He's gonna start his own show now. He's gonna desert me and leave me for dead. I got my own corner over here.
I think I should just do it in this accent. I mean, it's pretty cool.
Aww.
Now I'll save that only for the sock thing. But I'm talking about the Premier League.
But Tony La Russa thing is.
What do you think?
This is very interesting, but I think this needs to have some context. I'll be quick. Tony La Russa was the White Sox manager from 1979 to 1986. And one of the biggest regrets by Jerry Reinsdorf, the owner, who came out in The Athletic, who came out in the Chicago Tribune, who came out in other various publications around the city of Chicago today, one of his biggest regrets was letting Tony La Russa go. So this is a Jerry Reinsdorf hire, 1,000%. The owner of the White Sox said, listen, this is the guy I want managing my ball club. Now, there is already some internal, battling going on because not very many people believe that Tony La Russa can connect with the modern-day player, which I don't think is fair. I would have to see it. I think the game is changed. I just think it's a bit it's risky, no doubt, because of his age. He is 76. He hasn't managed in 10 years since 2011, the last time the Cardinals won the World Series. So I think there is some risk involved here. But I will say, listen, you got to applaud Reinsdorf for putting his money where his mouth is. I wish he went a little bit more baseball. And then again, I don't wish that. I kind of like the hire because it speaks to what we were talking about earlier with going with your gut and going with your baseball savvy, going with something that, has worked for 100 years. So the Tony La Russa hire is fascinating. I just wish that, we knew more of the reasoning behind it, which I'm sure we'll find out in the coming days and weeks ahead. But interesting hire for the White Sox, and we'll see what this turns into. But this show was awesome. Big Dog came with the international flavor. I see you, Big Dog.
God bring the international flavor.
Yeah, AJ Hinch is probably going to get the Tiger job, and Alex Cora is likely to get the Red Sox job again, if you want to believe that.
What a joke.
So going back to the scene of the crime.
That's why I don't like
Anyway.
baseball anymore. Plus a myriad of other reasons.
All right.
That's another.
Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Big Dog, me and Big Dog, thank you very much.
Of course, Panthers Falcons. I got Panthers winning 30-10 tonight. Only 30-17.
Nah, I got the Panthers winning the close one. I got Panthers 31. I got Falcons 24 on a last-second drive by Teddy the Kid.
Okay, that could happen. A lot of games have been close. Not really many blowouts. Some, but not many. So hopefully it'll be a good game because there's no other sports in it. Well, there's soccer. No, I can't have Beltran on the Mets. No. He failed me. He failed Met fans everywhere. That can't have it. 06 still scars me, man. Who knows? If that didn't happen, you guys might still have me as a baseball fan, but that killed it. Blame him for that.
Poor Big Dog. Somebody help him.
But awesome show, man. Love you. Great show. Thank you, everyone, for watching, commenting. I had a blast.
Working now, by the way.
And we will see you guys on Saturday.
Saturday at 2 p.m., correct, Big Dog?
Yep, if anything changes, which maybe we will post it, and we'll still definitely do a show, but times may change. We'll see. But
and Sunday is kind of hard because it's this guy goes karaoke till like 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. You know what I mean? So depending on his karaoke schedule, we'll let you know.
Yeah, karaoke at grandma's house. It's not every weekend. It's like every other weekend. It's fun. It's a fun time, but you might sleep sometimes on Sundays. I mean, so do you. Come on, don't act like I'm the only one who, don't want to get up that day. Come on now. And then you're all psycho, which I get. You got to prepare for the Browns game because most of them are at 1 o'clock. So you're like,
bro.
Got to be at 11 or no show because at 12, I got to zone out. So only me. I'm part of it, but you're in that too, lad. Don't just
listen. Those karaoke nights do run long. All right,
they did. Fun with the family. It's fun. We have a good time at grandma's.
Listen, somebody needs to get a camera. We need to see this. Somebody needs to post a video of the karaoke nights on somebody's Facebook.
I'll ask somebody to take a video of me.
Listen, this needs to be posted on the show page.
I'm a pretty good singer. I'm not trying to brag, but I think I'm a decent singer.
This needs to be posted on the show's page for public consumption ASAP. Like we need to see this. Somebody get a video out.
Like I love to sing. So, and then when you put a microphone in my hand, it's all. John, if you're still watching, right, John, those karaoke nights, they're fun. They're a lot of fun.
I heard that. I heard tales of the karaoke from this guy. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. This was epic. Big Dog, you the man, brother. You rock.
You the man. You.
All right. We'll see you guys on Saturday. And if any news break, just follow us at the Nick and Steph Show SH1 on Twitter, at Nick and Steph SH1 on Twitter, at the Nick and Steph Show on Facebook, and maybe we'll have some more announcements along the way. If Nick's any good at singing, we'll sign him to a record deal. Hey, listen,
I think I can sing. I think I'm pretty good. I'm decent.
Listen, man. Hey, man, we need more content.
People have told me I could sing, so.
There you go, man. Anyway, man, this is good. Speaking of announcements, we'll have more announcements in the coming days and weeks ahead. Oh, shout out to Chad, who is now a member of the Declips Media family. I just wanted to shout him out on a public
Chad.
forum. So welcome to the familiar, Chad. All right, we're getting jackets made soon. All right, but as the great Vinny Morato once said, "We bid you adieu."